everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brian and I appreciate you clicking this video. This is actually the first long form video that I'm making about stock analysis basically. I've been making other videos about 3 minutes long, uploading them to TikTok, Instagram, and so forth. But I haven't made any long form videos like the one I'm making now. A few disclosures before we get into it. I do work in the industry. However, if you clicked on this video in order to look for advice, your next big money maker, how to become a millionaire overnight, it's probably not the video for you. I'm just doing this essentially educational purposes. I'm just showing you all how I review stocks whenever I'm looking for any sort of like stocks to pick. This is what I do. I just read financial quarterly statements, um, press releases, really anything that may be relevant to the company itself. So yeah, no advice here, but you might learn a thing or two. Now, today we're actually going to be talking about one stock. It's the ticker symbol is CEG, Constellation Energy, and this is actually a very interesting one. It's actually powering the AI that we all use today, or most of us that use AI. I use it every day, but if you've ever used AI, this company may be the one powering the AI that you're using. But we'll talk about Constellation Energy. We'll dive into a few different things. But again, thank you for clicking the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you want me to review any other companies, leave a comment with the name of the company or if they're publicly traded, the ticker symbol, and we can certainly take a look. Now, sorry about the glare, by the way. My glare it distracts me. I'll get LASIK later this month, so I won't have to to wear these things anymore. But this is Constellation Energy's website. So the big thing here is nuclear power. So for anybody that is unaware, AIs or large language models, they require a ton of energy to power them, right? Now, a lot of places that are having these data centers pop up that hold the AIs, the electricity prices are going up around the data centers because they're sucking up all the electricity at all times of day. So any homes that are near the data centers, the electricity prices are skyrocketing. So these companies, they're trying to find ways of essentially powering these data centers, these companies more efficiently, and of course not having such a huge strain on the grid. Because if we continue the way that we have been, meaning creating more data centers and of course putting more strain on the grid, eventually that may lead to power outages. And nobody, absolutely nobody here in the United States wants to be having power outages all the time or like rolling blackouts or whatever, right? Constellation Energy is actually doing something really, really cool. At least I think it's really cool. They are starting up nuclear. Now, nuclear has been a bit of a taboo over the past few decades because of course, a few things that we'll talk about, but Constellation Energy is sort of bringing nuclear back into the fold here. So, Constellation's nuclear powered home energy options. Now, for those of you unaware, right, what is nuclear energy? How does it work? Well, nuclear energy, and this is directly from their website, nuclear power generation companies operate plants that manage a reaction called fission. Fission in these plants is a process for splitting the atom of a fuel, such as uranium. When that happens, a massive amount of heat is produced. Nuclear energy facilities produce power by boiling water to create steam that spins a turbine to generate electricity. Kind of interesting that, like, this whole super like advanced process goes on and it really just kind of goes back to boiling water to create steam to spin a turbine to generate electricity. There's a lot more that goes on, and these facilities are super complex. But it's kind of interesting that it kind of just goes back to like water and spinning spinning a turbine to generate electricity. So, this is Google Finance. This is Constellation Energy. As you all can see, there's quite a lot of green here, which is very good for Constellation Energy. So, ticker symbol is CEG. They trade under NASDAQ. Now, last price was $353.27. It's pretty good. Now, when we take into account how good they've done, it just kind of puts into perspective, right? Like the strides that this company's been making. So 45.62% has been the return as of the last 12 months. or $110.67 as of 1 year, 12 months, right? Now today is January 1st, by the way, the day I'm recording this. The price, let's look, I think 12 months ago, January 3rd is the furthest back it goes. $252.40 was the price on January 3rd, 2025. $242. And it's gone up since then $110.67. So 45% return. Now, just for some context, so if anybody's unaware, the S&P 500, which is an index made up of the 500 biggest public companies in the United States, typically on average returns about 8 to 11% on a good year, right? Or on an average year. Now, Constellation Energy has done 45.62% in 1 year. It's done multiple times the regular S&P 500 return. That does not happen by accident. There is a very good reason for this to be happening, and Constellation Energy is honestly absolutely killing it. Their market cap is $110.32 billion dollars with a B, by the way, not million, billion. So they're worth quite a heavy penny. And they are doing pretty well. So let's explore why this is happening. By the way, one little thing I forgot to mention, the 52-week low is actually $161.35, probably around this time here, April. This was back when all the tariff stuff was going on. And the 52-week high was $412.58. So we're not even at the highest it was during 2025, just to put things into perspective. One thing I like to do is I always like to review um, companies' websites because I want to see how responsive is their website. How good are their products? What are people saying about this company? How good is their customer service? Now, for Constellation Energy, I see they have electric, so they have electricity in multiple states, natural gas in multiple states, renewable energy. They also have smart home and home services, which happen to be things like making your home more efficient, and then also connectivity or networking within your home, essentially. From what I gather, they're just looking to make your home more efficient, so like more energy efficient with those products and services. But they're across multiple different states, so they have millions of customers which they service. They have multiple different income streams, which is good to see. Now, any company that is public, it's going to have something that says like investors, something like that. Usually, it'll be either all the way up at the top or it'll be all the way at the bottom. Now, I already found it here. Um, Corporate information, investors. This is a great place to go. So, anytime you're researching a company, go to the investors or for investors section, and it gives you the corporate profile, leadership and governance, and then it also gives you their earnings release. This is very important, and this is what a lot of like people that are into essentially researching stocks look at. They look at, hey, what was the last quarterly earnings? Are they doing well? What is the health of the company? So anytime you're researching a company and you want to you just want to see how they're doing, just go to the investor section again, either all the way at the bottom in the footer of the website or all the way at the top. Now this here, this is essentially the what you could say the meat and potatoes. A big reason why Constellation has done very well this year. Now this is not the only reason, but it is definitely a big reason. So this is a news release from last year. It is right here from September 20th. I'll open it just so you guys see it's the same one. Now here we go. So I'll read it over with you guys. You guys can pause the video to review it if you want, but you can also find this on their website. So Constellation signs its largest ever power purchase agreement with Microsoft. Of course, as we all know, Microsoft, they create AI, right? Like most huge tech companies. A deal will restore TMI. Now, TMI is not too much information. It is 3 Mile Island, Unit 1. Now, if any of you watching this were alive at the time, TMI, 3 Mile Island Unit 2 was the one that had that incident, and we'll touch on that in a second here. But they're actually gonna restore TMI Unit 1. They're gonna service and keep it online for decades, for a minimum of 20 years, add approximately 835 megawatts of carbon-free energy to the grid. This is important. So 835 megawatts. I did some research previously. It could power around 800,000 homes. That's how much they're going to be able to power with this Unit 1. Constellation announced today, this was back in 2024, signing of a 20-year power purchase agreement with Microsoft that will pave the way for the launch of the Crane Clean Energy Center and restart of 3 Mile Island Unit 1, which operated at industry leading levels of safety and reliability for decades before being shut down for economic reasons exactly 5 years ago today. So, in 2019, um, 3 Mile Island Unit 1 was shut down due to essentially, to put it to put it bluntly, right, like operating loss. It was operating at a loss, right? There wasn't enough need for the plant to be operating, so they shut it down. However, things have changed since 2019, right? ChatGPT came into play, what, like 2022? Ever since then, the AI scene has absolutely exploded. Data centers have exploded across the United States, and the need for energy is higher than it ever has. So, in order to not put so much pressure on the grid, companies are now starting to look elsewhere, right? Look elsewhere for power, and this was a exact this was a perfect place to look. Hey, this has been turned off for 5 years. Let's turn this back on, and let's use this power to power AI, to power these large language models. So Microsoft is definitely thinking very, 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 very far in the future. And honestly, like, props to Microsoft, because they're definitely putting their money where their mouth is, um, by initiating this. Obviously, this isn't like it's a nuclear reactor, right? So they have to get U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission approval, and I'm sure a lot of other approvals. Um, but interestingly enough, so it says additionally, through a separate request, Constellation will pursue license renewal that will extend plant operations to at least 2054. The CCEC is that's the name of the plant, or what they're naming it, what they're going to change the name to, is expected to be online in 2028. Now it's 2026 now, so in a few years. Um, and this is essentially what Microsoft said. It said this agreement is a major milestone in Microsoft's efforts to help decarbonize the grid in support of our commitment to become carbon negative. Microsoft continues to collaborate with energy providers to develop carbon free energy sources to help meet the grid's capacity and reliability needs. Of course, one of the big reasons why this is happening now is also because of AI. Now, I probably do way too much research on some of these topics, but um, go into the World Nuclear Association, worldnuclear.org, safety of nuclear power reactors, and this is essentially the biggest thing, right? So there have been two major reactor accidents in the history of civil nuclear power. Chernobyl, right, which occurred during the Soviet Union, in what is now Ukraine today, in Fukushima. I'm gonna butcher this. Fukushima Daiichi, um, Fukushima Daiichi, which is of course in Japan, during the 2011 tsunami. Now, Chernobyl involved an intense fire without provision for containment, and Fukushima Daiichi severely tested the containment, allowing some release of radioactivity. Now, Chernobyl was definitely a lot worse than Fukushima Daiichi from what I've read, but of course, doesn't really, worse for nuclear reactors. Kind of releasing a bunch of nuclear radiation everywhere is pretty bad. However you put it. But it does also state that the evidence over 6 decades shows that nuclear power is a safe means of generating electricity. The risk of accidents in nuclear power plants is low and declining. The consequences of an accident or terrorist attack are minimal compared with other commonly accepted risks. Radiological effects on people of any radioactive releases can be avoided. So, all that to say, yes, bad things have happened, but we are getting better at them. We're getting better at essentially stopping stopping those bad things from happening. Now, this is another thing that occurred, which is actually the reactor adjacent to the one that they're going to be turning back on, restoring. 3 Mile Island. This was actually back in 1979. Now, if we remember, 3 Mile Island Unit 1 is the one that Microsoft will be helping to potentially power back on with Constellation Energy. Um, Now, in 1979, there was a reactor. The reactor was severely damaged, but radiation was contained and there were no adverse health or environmental consequences. That was from the reactor essentially beside TMI 1. This was TMI 2, right? So 3 Mile Island Unit 2. Now, Unit 2 is not coming back online, at least not that I'm aware of. This will be Unit 1 that they're going to be bringing back online. All right, I'm done doing nuclear reactor research or whatever. So taking a look here, this is the Tip Ranks CG analyst ratings for the next 12 months. So this is the forecast. This, of course, is just information I'm providing all of you based off of Tip Ranks. The forecast average for the following 12 months is $409.82 for CEG. That's the analyst ratings. Let's take a look at a few more. Another view I really like is Trading View actually. So Trading View, the way I really like the way their UI works with Trading View. So current price, and then this is the target price, 406.95 over the next um the average target price over the next 12 months. So um yeah, they're pretty good. So Constellation Energy, they're definitely knocking it out of the park with the whole new thing. Alrighty, everyone. That was my analysis of CEG. I probably went a little bit too on the deep end about like nuclear reactors and stuff. But that's pretty much what I do. I like to look at their quarterly financial statements, what deals they have going on, how they've performed over the last 12 months, what analysts are saying about the stock over the next 12 months, because that does play a role into the whole stock um, the whole stock pricing and everything, right? What would people think about the stock? Now, of course, analyst ratings over the next 12 months, that's pretty much a crystal ball, right? I could throw out any number out there that actually doesn't have any weight to it. It's just what people think it could be priced at over the next 12 months. But this has been really fun for me. If you want me to analyze any other stocks, leave the ticker symbol or the name of the company down in the comments. Um, and if you're not a proponent of nuclear, let me know why. I certainly am. But if you're not, let me know in the comments below why you're not a proponent of nuclear energy. And yeah, very, very cool things. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on CEG. It does appear that they have a lot of new things coming up, of course, in 2028 is when we expect this new or recommissioned nuclear energy plant to come back online. So hopefully everything goes well with that. And there's no issues or delays there. But it has been a pleasure. My name is Brian, and I hope if you're still here, I hope you have a nice rest of your day and take care.